Among the Gospel books, the book of Luke in particular has a lot of passages on prayer. It shows us how Jesus prayed, not only in decisive moments when he needed to make decisions, but also in everyday life. The disciples saw how Jesus prayed and asked him to teach them how to pray. And Jesus told them the Lord's Prayer, which begins with Our Father who art in heaven. Jesus tells the disciples on their journey to Jerusalem that they must continue to pray. Luke chapter 18 tells us to always pray and not lose heart, maybe because many people don't value their time praying or just end up giving up their prayers. In the text today, Jesus tells us about our attitude towards praying through the parable of a Pharisee and two tax collectors praying in a temple. The Pharisee who went in the temple prayed, "God, I thank you that I'm not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week and give a tenth of all I get." But the tax collector stood at a distance. He would not even look up to the heaven, but beat his breast and said, "God, have mercy on me, a sinner." The Pharisee was proud, and rightfully so. After all, the Pharisee not only abode by all the laws, but also fasted twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. And he gave exactly 1/10 of whatever he got to the temple. He gave precisely 1/10 of all his crops and even the smallest of the vegetables. But he prayed because he wanted to boast and show off. He wanted to shout out, "Look at me, I'm so good at keeping the law." On the other hand, the tax collector didn't live by the law. He collected tax from people, so people didn't like him. The tax collector beat his breast in sorrow and prayed for forgiveness in desperation. Praying is not about showing off or comparing oneself with others. So while the Pharisee was praying, it was difficult for God to accept his prayers. So that's why Jesus told his disciples, "I tell you that the tax collector, rather than the other, went home justified before God. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Jesus tells us that while it's important for us to pray at all times and not give up, how we pray is also important. Let's remember God who loves us despite our weaknesses, and always humble ourselves in prayer like the tax collectors did.